I am making Mounds candy. You're going to take 1 can of sweetened condensed milk, not evaporated milk. Sweetened condensed milk has sugar and milk. Evaporated milk is just milk with some of the water removed, so it's concentrated. Then we're going to take 3 cups of sweetened coconut. Now I think 3 cups is 1 package. Let me see. Nope, it's just shy. Okay, so you want, that's what I thought. So you want a 12-ounce package. This is 14. So you either want a 12-ounce package of coconut or 3 cups, whichever you want. Now, this recipe is adapted from our Dining on a Dime cookbook, volume 1. This was my aunt's. This was my grandma's sister's recipe right here, Mounds. Now this is more like a Mounds cookie in the book because you make a crust, but I'm making just the candy today. So if you want to make just the candy, use the same recipe, except leave off the crust.
So you just drop the candy onto the...
Yep. Okay, then we're going to get our Mounds all, oh my goodness, that is so yummy, gooey, delicious. Okay, now this is really super sticky, so just so I don't have to dig the coconut out from underneath my fingernails, because I'm doing a whole bunch of videos today, I am using these food gloves. Not necessary at all, except that I'm doing a whole bunch of videos and I don't feel like cleaning out my hands. So we're going to take and roll this into little logs. I'm going to go through and do all that, and then I'm going to show you the next step. Okay. Now if your shape gets a little off, just go in and reshape it, and then when we freeze them, it will be okay. Yes?
I just gotta look at the beauty.
You do, huh?
Yes.
Do I look like Mrs. Claus?
You do look like Mrs. Claus.
Somebody said I look like a good Mrs. Claus. Do I look like a good Mrs. Claus, Dave?
Yeah, you look just like Mrs. Claus.
Aw, thanks.
You're old, you got the silver hair.
I'm old and I have the silver hair. That is my son speaking.
You have lovely hair.
Christmas is coming up, so we can get a note to Mr. Claus on how Dave was insulting his mother, being naughty. So Santa may not bring him gifts this year. Ooh, that was a little big. I don't know. Do you think Santa would bring him gifts anyway? Because he's usually a pretty good guy, Dad.
Probably. You probably could be a good Mrs. Claus because you're already used to the, since it's colder here than it is in the North Pole.
Yes. Okay, now I just got to thinking, if you want to make these into Almond Joys, all you have to do is stick your almonds in there, and then you will have Almond Joy candy. Okay, now if you get one that like this, oops, I splatted. Okay, if like this one's smaller, then just take a little bit off of this one, put it on there, and reform it.
Or make that the diet one.
Or make that, yeah, that's the diet one.
It only has 450 calories, not 500.
At 5,000. Okay, now to make these into Almond Joys, we will stick our almonds on top, just like so. Now I like the roasted and salted almonds because that extra little bit of salt actually brings out the flavor really well. People don't know that, but when you salt sweet things just slightly, you don't taste the salt usually. Now you might in these, but you don't usually taste the salt. It just brings out the sweetness. All right, now this will be Mom and I's candy for Christmas.
I'll eat
Then
Almond Joy.
this will be Mounds for everybody else. Now we're going to freeze this for about 20 minutes. All right, for the Mounds, I have dark chocolate here. Yeah, I sort of forgot about that when it's November and we have to film Christmas videos. I don't have my Christmas decorations out yet. Okay, 30 seconds and we're starting. Now I want this fairly thin, so I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of coconut oil or shortening, whichever you prefer. I just switch between ingredients, guys, so you guys can see how I use the different ingredients for what I have on hand. Because I want this dark chocolate thinned out a little bit more, and the coconut oil, or you could use the paraffin, the shaved paraffin, how I showed in my peanut butter balls recipe. All right, that's pretty good. Let's go get our Mounds.
She's marching.
All right, there they are, frozen. Yum. Mounds. So now, I'm going to take a fork, dip it in there, and let it drip. The spoon turns it around easier and the fork helps it drain easier. Now see how I have a little hole right there? I just take and just move the chocolate and fill it in. There's a little hole right there. If you need extra chocolate, you can just take your spoon. Almond Joys have milk chocolate, but what I use is semi-sweet or milk, whichever one you want. We prefer semi-sweet. Now I do have just about, I don't know, 2 tablespoons of dark chocolate left from my Mounds bars. So what I'm gonna do is just mix in my semi-sweet, and then it'll just be slightly darker. It's really not that big of a deal, guys. It just depends on what your family likes. Then I'm going to add a little bit of coconut oil in this one also to get it thinner. Now, since I already have some melted chocolate in here, this is probably gonna go quicker. Yeah, so. Wow, that's pretty hot. I'm just gonna let the rest of them, I only did 30 seconds because I already had some chocolate in here, and I'm gonna let the rest just melt from the heat of the measuring cup. Okay, now the rest of that, look how nice. It was what, maybe 2 minutes, dear, that we let that sit from. Now you can tell if the measuring cup is too hot for you to put your hands there, do not microwave anymore. Your chocolate will melt the rest of the way. Now, we're going to put in our Almond Joys. Shoot. You might need to put these back in the freezer if they start getting a little too soft. I'm gonna see if I can just get them done. Now this one's getting really, really soft, so I hope I can get my last. If it gets really soft and you're like on your last one, just go ahead and
Give your husband a spoon.
give your husband a spoon. I think I made it. I think I made it. I think I made it. Okay, now we're gonna set these in the freezer and let them harden up. Poor guy. So what are you doing? Come on, we gotta film, we gotta film. He's my dishwasher behind the scenes while I'm going and getting ingredients and cleaning my hands again. So thank you, my favorite dishwasher in the whole world.
You're welcome. And your studio PA.
In my studio, yes.
And your gaffer and your grip.
Yes.
Director of photography.
Yes. Okay, here are our Mounds and our Almond Joy after they have been in the freezer and set up. Now, if you miss a little corner, your sweetened condensed milk will seep out just a little bit, but Don't freak out. If you want to double dip these, you can, just to make sure, but frankly, we don't really worry about it. So now, if you want to have these for Christmas and make them ahead of time, then I just make them and leave them on the parchment paper, scooch them all together, and then just set the whole thing in a freezer bag, okay? So there's our Mounds candy. Here's our Almond Joy candy. You want to test the Mounds, dear?
Sure.
Okay, which one do you want to test? You can pick one or both.
Ooh, I'd almost test both. But here, we'll try the Mounds one first. Mmm.
It's better than the store, I think.
Mmm. That's really good.
Yum.
I have to test the other one? Just kidding. So I gotta get a piece with an almond in it right here.
Yep, there you go.
Mmm.
Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, it's delicious. I didn't fail. Of course not. It's because it's in our Dining on a Dime cookbook, volume 1.
Yes. It's amazingly delicious. Yum.
Now we're just going to pop these in the freezer and save them till Christmas. Thank you for watching our entire video. We are going to give you our Dining on a Dime cookbook ebook, volume number 1, free at livingonadime.com. Click on our shop, click on our ebooks, click on Dining on a Dime volume 1, add it to your cart. When you go to checkout, use the coupon code DINING1 and you will get our ebook absolutely free with no obligation and no strings attached. Visit us at livingonadime.com. 2 cups is 2 packages of dots. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut all of these up into smaller pieces. Okay, so I think the easiest way to do this is just to take a knife and just separate, or not separate, but cut each one in half. I think that's the easiest way to get them cut in half. Next thing we want to do is prepare a pan. So I have my parchment paper, an 8x8 pan, and I'm cutting for the corners. Just like, oops, I missed. Just like so. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a microwave safe bowl. This is my favorite one. I got it at a thrift store, but I will put a link in the description below if they still have one similar. I don't know if they do or not, on Amazon. You want 2 tablespoons of butter, and then you want 20 ounces of chocolate chips. So this one happens to be 9 ounces, and this one happens to be 11 ounces. So just check your chips. It's basically 2 bags of chocolate chips. Okay, so we're going to combine that with 2 10-ounce packages of mini marshmallows. These in here because I need to use them up. Hold both packages of chocolate chips. This is 10 ounces of the big ones that I used up. So what I'm going to do is get this all started melting, and then I'm going to add the rest of the chips. Then you want to be sure to stir in between so you don't burn any of your chocolate. You can also do this in a pan on a double boiler if you want.
Double boiler?
Double boiler. Do you know what a double boiler is?
No, I don't.
It is a pan. It's where you take a pan like this, put water in it, and then you take a bowl and put it on top and put your ingredients in here, and it slowly warms it without burning.
Oh.
That's what a double boiler is. Alright, now we're getting down, so I'm going to add my next bag of marshmallows. it acts like my white chocolate is trying to seize up on me. So I'm just going to go through and keep stirring until I can get the rest of the chocolate melted, or the marshmallows melted, so that the chocolate doesn't get too hot. White chocolate will seize if it gets too hot. You can't diddle around because once it starts cooling, it's hot. Okay, so now let's get all of our candies. Then I'm going to leave some to decorate the top here. Some of the smaller ones to decorate the top. Okay, now there's a little trick. When you have something sticky, spray your fingers. You can just press it in the pan with your fingers. Try to make sure, like if you were envisioning cutting it, that every piece has a little piece on top. So now we're gonna let this set up and then we will cut it. And do not put it in the refrigerator, just let it set up at room temperature. Okay, it has been 4 hours, and I think, do I dare give this a try, dear?
Looks like nougat to me.
It is supposed to be nougat.
What?
Do you think that it turned out as nougat? Is it too soft still? Size, right? Or wrong?
Depends on how many calories you want.
Okay, as I was dishing this up for the neighbors, Mike said it is.
I said of all the Christmas candies you've ever made, this is probably one of the top 5.